Authorities took the 18-year-old into custody early Sunday morning at his family's Buckingham Township farm, 12 hours after the fatal shooting of Temple University police officer Christopher Fitzgerald. Police say he then tried to steal the dead cop's holstered gun before carjacking a motorist and fleeing.
All right, all units available. Please clear Broad Street. We got a report of an officer down.
Law enforcement sources say Pfeffer was known to police in Bucks County. As a juvenile, he was arrested and charged with terroristic threats related to a bomb threat at CB South High School in 2021. Sources say Pfeffer recently got off probation for that crime.
Probably doesn't even fucking work. He probably.
And sometimes I know that y'all won't make it home. So please protect one another and hug your loved ones a little tighter.
On Saturday, February 18th, Temple University police officer Christopher Fitzgerald was doing his regular foot patrol of the area near Temple University's campus. The area near 17th and Montgomery had experienced a breakout of recent carjackings and robberies when Officer Fitzgerald noticed 3 people wearing black clothing with masks over their face. Fitzgerald, who was working alone that night and in his Temple police uniform, decided to approach the young men on foot. At around 7:12 p.m., he reported over the police radio that he was about to make a pedestrian stop on the 1800 block of Montgomery Avenue in North Philadelphia. Police Corporal Teresa Brooks, who happened to be listening to the radio at the nearby headquarters of the 22nd District, left the building to help Fitzgerald. Officer Fitzgerald told the suspect to get on the ground multiple times before the suspect began shooting. Police know from sound and video surveillance, sources said. As Brooks walked towards Fitzgerald, she heard gunshots. Then 2 teens ran and Brooks stopped them. One of the teens was the younger brother of Miles Pfeffer, who, according to Philadelphia police, had been captured on surveillance video shooting Fitzgerald near the intersection of 18th and Montgomery Avenue, knocking him to the ground and then standing over him and firing 3 more times as the officer lay on the street. In 2021, at Central Bucks South High School, Miles Pfeffer, as a juvenile, was arrested and charged with terroristic threats, according to the police. The Central Bucks School District says Pfeffer was a student in the district until September of 2019, which would have likely been his freshman year.
A student is in police custody tonight in connection to threats made against Central Bucks South High School. Chopper 3 over the scene where officers and K-9 units inspected the school this morning. Investigators say 2 separate threats were made involving an explosive device and a possible weapon. Nothing threatening was found inside of it.
Pfeffer was given probation for this offense. Where he went to school afterwards is unknown. While his mother lived on a Bucks County farm, Pfeffer's father lived on the 2900 block of Ridge Avenue in Strawberry Mansion, which explained Pfeffer's travels to Philadelphia. A few minutes after the shooting, Miles Pfeffer approached another victim on the 1800 block of North 18th Street and stole their car. As I said earlier, Pfeffer was a student at Central Bucks High School in Bucks County up until 2019. His mom owned a modest farm in Buckingham Township. His father lived in North Philadelphia near 29th and Ridge. Apparently, he would go back and forth between his mom's in Buckingham Township and his dad's house in Philly.
Yeah, Keith, we met Tim Tran earlier this afternoon, and he's joining these growing calls for increased safety on Temple's campus. He tells us about that terrifying moment he was approached with a gun. 22-year-old Tim Tran was getting food around Temple's campus with a friend when he heard the gunshots, but he didn't think much about them.
Living in Philly, like, hearing gunshots is not uncanny. So, like, when I heard them, it didn't sound like it was that close to me.
When he got back to his car on 18th Street, he says Miles Pfeffer ran up to him.
I didn't really process what he was saying until I saw his gun. He had his gun pointed at my chest.
Tran gave Pfeffer the keys. Police later found Tran's car abandoned on 29th and Ridge. Officers tell him it crashed into another vehicle, and they're currently keeping it as evidence in the investigation. Tran doesn't know if or when he'll get it back.
I was really emotionally distressed, and financially this gonna really affect me too. All my tools and my book bag and stuff was in the back of my car. So him doing this really put a dent in my life right now.
Now he's joining the growing calls for Temple to improve safety around campus. He's frustrated more hasn't been done, but says he knows they're understaffed with limited resources. Mostly today, he's just grateful to still be here.
I didn't really think when he pointed that gun at me, he was gonna kill me. It was just like he just wanted to do a quick carjack, whatever, he'd dip off. But then after I seen the officers run down the block, they let me know what happened. I was like, wow, like, he could have really killed me if he wanted to.
Auto thefts and carjackings have seen an explosive rise in Philadelphia. Not only are residents committing crime, but the city has seemingly become a destination. This chart shows an unbelievably high rate of criminals not being convicted. For auto thefts, the rate is 80 to 90% of cases failing to convict, the vast majority being withdrawn. In 2022, the rate of withdrawn or dismissed auto theft cases was 81%. In 2017, it was only 47%. According to police, Miles and his two accomplices were in Philadelphia that day, seen on surveillance at a convenience store. But in the end, he ended up committing the two most common violent crimes in the city, carjackings and shooting. Both have seen a dramatic rise over the course of the health emergency and afterward. Not only that, but shootings on or around Temple campuses have seen a sharp increase as well. Since 2020, 129 people have been shot, 14 fatally, within a quarter mile of Temple University's main campus, according to police records. Out-of-town Temple students rarely leave campus, and if they do, they travel in packs for safety. The two teens who had been with Pfeffer before the attack, including his younger brother, provided key information that led investigators to the 18-year-old Pfeffer, who police say went on to commit a carjacking and flee the crime scene, first to his father's house in North Philadelphia. He then had his mother pick him up to take him to their home in Bucks County. He was arrested at the Boxley Farm property.
Sources close to the investigation tell me multiple weapons were seized from this historic farm along Quarry Road Sunday afternoon. Officials searched the home of 18-year-old Miles Pfeffer on the grounds of the historic Boxley Farm just hours after Pfeffer was taken into custody by the Buckingham Police Department, Central Bucks Special Response Team, and Philadelphia Police, along with U.S. Marshals.
We were able to get the house surrounded. They were able to get compliance and take the suspect into custody without incident.
U.S. Marshals shared these photos of Pfeffer's arrest. Officers used Fitzgerald's handcuffs on the suspect as he was taken back to Philadelphia Police Headquarters.
It's a tradition that we do anytime there's a fallen officer, and we felt it was important to remember Officer Fitzgerald by once again placing his cuffs on the suspect.
Local police sources say Miles Pfeffer is known to officers in the area for what they describe as nuisance crimes. Neighbors say the family moved in about 4 years ago and that they've seen police at the residence several times since.
I really don't know them, even though they're so close. Everybody keeps to themselves around in your country, mostly. They have been noisy at times. With vehicles and stuff? Motorcycles and things like that in the field, yeah.
Police also tell CBS 3 the SPCA was called to the property as part of the search to check on several animals. Right now, they're being cared for by SPCA.
Pfeffer remained in jail without bail as of Saturday, March 19th, facing charges including murder of a law enforcement officer, robbery, and weapons violations. His next preliminary hearing is scheduled for May 19th in Philadelphia. After the preliminary hearing, be sure to check back for more updates to this case, including coverage of his trial.
Hundreds of students and staff packed around the Temple University bell tower. The family of fallen Temple University officer Christopher Fitzgerald moved through the crowd first, visibly distraught, followed by his brothers and sisters in blue, who stood solemnly, everyone sharing the same grief.
To the family of Officer Fitzgerald, we offer our deepest condolences and support, and he will never be forgotten by any of us.
We are humbled by the fact that so many Temple University students are here to celebrate the life of our son.
Dedicated to his job, Officer Christopher Fitzgerald was shot and killed while on duty 3 days ago, working the dangerous streets of North Philadelphia. His former partner choked up when speaking about the impact Fitz, as they called him, had on the campus and community.
From his first day to his last day, Officer Fitz was running around this campus to prevent crime and conduct community policing.
His wife could barely get the words out as she stood before the crowd, wearing her husband's jacket.
My family will never be the same. I will never be the same.
Fitzgerald, also an avid runner and father of 4, but his wife says being a cop was one of the highlights of his life.
He was so proud. He was so proud to wear that uniform.
Tonight she has a message for the officers who serve.
Because y'all know what the job calls for, and sometimes I know that y'all know y'all won't make it home. So please protect one another and hug your loved ones.